Hey and howdy everyone, it's Jeannie with Paper Pixie Ink, and today we are doing something just a little bit different. So it's the time of year where I start thinking about my Christmas cards that I want to send out, or holiday cards, and I usually end up making a whole bunch before I settle on one that I want to, kind of mass produce. So I thought that it might be fun to share with you some designs, I guess, of ones that I'm kind of playing with to see if it's something that I'm interested in this year. So the first one that I am working on is made using some paper, and really it doesn't really matter what pattern paper you use, as long as it's, can be considered either traditional Christmas colors, or that you just, kind of color match with inks or whatever. So what I did was I just took a plain white card base. So this is just Nina Solar White. And then this green is actually from the scrapbook.com Christmas cardstock pad. So this is just this green here. It's kind of like the traditional green for Christmas. And then I used a few other things as well. So I don't know when. I want to say it's like been 3 years now, maybe longer. Does it have a date? Oh, it's 2020. So in 2020, I got this paper pad. It's a Christmas one from scrapbook.com. It was one of their, how they do the free, gift with purchase kind of things. So this was one that I got one year, probably around this time actually. And it had, I don't know, how many pages does it have? It doesn't say, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, I could be blind. But it had a number of pages in here. I've gone through some of them, there's still some left. So I started playing around with that and came up with this card design. I mean, it's kind of basic, but it also allows you to use up smaller pieces, which I thought was kind of cool too. So we're going to make this, or remake this, I guess, together. I kind of compiled all of the components, and then we are going to put them together. Put them together. So we have a Nina Solar White card base. So if you are like me and you don't buy card bases, I do sometimes, but I usually just make them myself. I pre-make a bunch of them, and then I put them in a drawer and I have them whenever I need them. This is cut to 8.5 by 5.5. So an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper cut in half. And then you score it at 4 1/4 on the 8.5 inch side to get a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card base. So we're gonna use a card base like that. And then we are going to cut, so this is from the Christmas Smooth cardstock paper pad. Again, you can use lots of different colors. I like the scrapbook.com, these paper pads. They're not always the best for, like, I wouldn't use 3D embossing folders with these because it is a thinner, I mean, it says it's an 85-pound cardstock, but it is a thinner one, but I like them because they're a great way to add color to your projects without adding a lot of extra dimension. So we are going to cut this down. I'm just going to grab my Cricut paper trimmer, and we are going to cut off 1/8 of an inch on both sides. So this doesn't actually really show it, but you can kind of like So this is a 1/4 inch, so 1/8 of an inch is like halfway between this line here and the cut mark. So I'm just going to do it this way. And this is probably about 1/8 of an inch. And you can throw that out because I don't think that there's really much of anything that you can use that tiny little piece for. So we're going to cut 1/8 of an inch off each side so that you can mat this just like this. And then I also, for stamping purposes, this is also Neenah Solar Weight, whereas my card bases I make out of the 100-pound cardstock. I keep a bunch of these sheets in the 80-pound for stamping and other purposes. So this is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I just ran it through this embossing folder from Tim Holtz. It's Sizzix, and this one is called Crackle. So I don't know if it's still available. I just like I don't know if you can kind of see the 3D effect that you get from that, but it adds a lot of dimension without adding a lot of dimension, if that makes any sense. And we are going to cut this down by 1/4 of an inch on each side. Oops. A little off. Kind of hard to get a straight cut when it's already embossed like that. So now we have our base and our colored cardstock, and then this is going to go right on top of it. Put it to the side. And then what I did was I took a piece of silver foil cardstock. So I get mine from Michael's. It's just silver foil cardstock. They have a bunch of different colors. I use a lot of the silver and gold cardstocks and the iridescent. I really like the iridescent too. But they have like greens and reds, and they have a pink one. They have some others too, I think. But anyway, I cut this. This is cut to 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So that's going to go in the center of our card. And then this is a piece of the paper from the pattern paper. And again, you can use just about anything. So you don't even necessarily have to use this design for a Christmas card or holiday card. You can use it for anything. I like the simplicity of some of these designs because they're just, you can use them for lots of different things. So this is cut to 1 1/2 inches, so 1 1/2 inches, and it's cut to 5 1/4. So that's going to go across here like this. And then this is a second piece of the pattern paper, and again, you can use it any way you want. I could, turn around and use it this way, but I like the polka dots. So this is cut to 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 so that you can get a nice matted look with your silver foil cardstock. And then I also die cut in silver foil one of these snowflakes. So this is the snowflake die set from scrapbook.com. So I just use this one. You can use, I love these dies, by the way. They work wonderfully, and I like the fact that you get some small ones, some medium ones, and some large ones. So you get a nice variety that can be used for a number of different applications because of the sizing differences, and they're not all the same. So like they're not like 2 of the same ones that are, in 3 different sizes. There are a bunch of different design snowflakes, which is really cool. So that's gonna go on here like this. And then to finish off the card, I just stamped this Jingle All the Way. I stamped it in this grass skirt because I thought it kind of went with this green here. So this is Catherine Pooler ink. And this stamp set is actually a scrapbook.com stamp set as well. This is a smaller one. It's relatively inexpensive for a stamp set. It stamps really, really well, and it's got a number of different sentiments. You have Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Memories, Wonderland, 'Tis the Season, Merry and Bright, which I really, really like the Merry and Bright one as well. And then the one that I used here is the Jingle All the Way. And this is the Merry Sentiments from scrapbook.com. So love that stamp set. And I just stamped it on this is also Neenah cardstock, because I find the Neenah Solar White cardstock, it stamps really, really well. The only other paper that I would say that I have found that stamps as well is the paper from Stampin' Up. Like the basic white paper that they have, and the cream, which is very vanilla. They stamp really, really well as well. Otherwise, I find in a lot of cases the ink bleeds a little bit. But anyway, I stamped in the Jingle All the Way in the grass skirt, and then this was a scrap piece of paper that I had, so this is a 1/2 inch. This is why I save all my scraps, because you never know when you could use them. And I use a lot of my scraps that I end up with from making my mini albums. I end up using a lot of them for card making. So anyway, I cut this down a little bit. So this was like 4 inches long, so 4 inches. So I cut a little bit off each side, and then I just used my little very tiny scrapbook.com paper snips, and I just cut down the middle, and then I created my little banner at the end. So now we're just going to put all of this together. When I'm playing with cards, I oftentimes will use the scrapbook.com non-permanent adhesive. It's still safe, it's acid-free and everything, but it's not permanent, which means you can, move things around. You can place them down. If you don't like it, you can pick it up and move it. So if you are working on designing cards, I recommend that. So one thing that I do like is scrapbook.com has a number of different adhesive rollers. I don't use these so much for album making because I like the permanence of my liquid glue, but for card making, I love these. They're super quick, super easy to use, and the ones that scrapbook.com sells are actually like really affordable in comparison. There are some really, really, really cheap ones out there that you can get. They don't always have the greatest holding power. So anyway, this is a scrapbook.com one. This is, I want to say there's like 98 feet on this. It goes a really long way when you're making cards for sure. So let's go ahead and start adhering all of this stuff down. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on the back of this. And we are just going to lay this down, oops, just like this. And then this is going to go on top of it. Then this is going to go on top of that. And we're just going to eyeball it in the center-ish. Oops. And then this is, whoops. This is going to go in the center of that. And then this is going to go in the center of this. And then this I'm going to actually glue on with some liquid glue because this is all open and I can't really put that around it. So we're just going to put some glue just like this. You could also use some double-sided adhesive and die cut it off of that. So adhere the double-sided adhesive to the back of the foil cardstock and then just die cut that so that you automatically have the adhesive on it, which is very convenient, which I do quite frequently. And then for my sentiment, I want to pop it up a little bit. So I am actually going to use, this is also from scrapbook.com. It's just some double-sided foam adhesive. So I'm just going to cut a strip that will fit on my sentiment. Just gonna lay it down, peel off the back, and then you can put this however you want, but I'm just going to kind of center it. And there you go. You could put some gems around it if you wanted, or use some like pops of color that scrapbook.com has to create little like enamel dots. But I kind of like how this looks. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'll probably be sharing some more handmade cards over the next little while, because right now that's where my brain is thinking about the cards for the holidays. So I hope you enjoyed, and as always, if you are interested in seeing more, don't forget to click on that subscribe button. Thanks, everyone.